I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, a place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and just an overall positive word. I'm your host, DJ, and y'all have to excuse me if I sound a little different. I'm just getting over a cold, and I wasn't going to record today, but I was talking to my therapist, and and one of the things that we're working on is just me staying consistent. Like even when I don't want to do something or I don't feel like doing something, just still getting up and doing it because I know I need to. I know that this is what I want to do. So I have to get the discipline to continue and the discipline and consistency to keep doing it even when I don't feel like doing it. So that's why I'm up doing it on the day that I said that I will record. I'm up recording. So you're getting this episode today, and today's episode was, just inspired not just by my last therapy session, but just a conversation that I was having with my mom. And it's just we gotta learn how to move on from things. We don't live in those. We're not living in that place anymore. That place of hurt or that place of misfortune or whatever it is that you went through. We don't live in those places anymore. And, we got to move past those things. But it's hard, and I'm just speaking from my experience, because it's easy for me to get on here and tell you, hey, move on. You don't live there anymore. It happened whenever it happened. It's easy for me to get on here and tell y'all that. But, as someone who's living with it and dealing with it in real time, it's not easy to let go of things, especially if it's become such a big part of your life, or to let go of people if they become such a big part of your life. But that doesn't mean that it's not necessary. It doesn't mean that you weren't supposed to do it. You got to understand that it's work, and saying it and actually realizing it are two different things. Like saying, hey, it's going to be work to do this, or hey, it's going to be work to do that, is one thing, and actually being in it and having to sit in front of the work and having to sit in front of the realization that you have to get to a certain point from where you are now, and all of the work that has to happen in between. Once you start to really realize how much work that is, or how much work you got to do on yourself, it's like, well, that's when you really start to realize that, hey, it is a lot of work. So realizing it and saying it are two totally different things. And I think that that's why I always preach the importance of, having your village, you know what I'm saying? Because, some of the work, most of the work, I mean, you're going to have to do the work by yourself, period. But there are parts, within that work where, being able to reach out to your people, the people in your village, can make it a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? Can make it, at least, even if it's just a day, even if it's just for a couple of hours, you know what I'm saying, can make the stress of, having to do this work or having to do whatever, and, can make it easy because, you have people that you can lean on. So, that's why I preach the importance of, having your village. And I'm trying to develop mine, but I have to also get out of my old ways and a lot of my old, bad habits. Those things are starting to get in the way of, helping me with my village and helping me, get to where I need to be. Because again, I know I've said it before, I'm not a big fan of change, but I also understand that it's that I need it. And, and that's just kind of where I am in life right now. I'm in that battle of knowing knowing that these things are best for me, these changes that need to happen, this work that needs to happen, and my old habits of resisting change and procrastination and and being lazy and quitting on myself. It's like I'm in this weird space where I know how much better life will be once I start doing the work, once I start, accepting change, once I start reaching out and going new places and meeting new people and getting new perspective and things around me. I know how, better life will be, but I have to get rid of these inner voices that are telling me, oh, just do it tomorrow, or we can do that later, or what I'm saying, the resistant change, just my comfort zone, and I know I've talked about that. I know I've talked about my battle with my comfort zone on here numerous times. So no need to, go back and rehash all of that. But it's just I'm getting to a point now. These conversations are continuing to come up, so it's like, okay, I need to. It's time to really just take those first steps, take that leap of faith, and do what I need to do so that I can start moving forward in life. Because in certain areas in my life, I'm just stuck. I haven't moved. I haven't moved forward. I'm still finding myself in the same places. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much I feel like I've grown, and I have grown in certain areas, so I don't want to make it seem like I've done nothing. I have grown in certain areas, but in other areas where I thought I may have grown, or I thought I may have gotten a lot further ahead than what I really am, or something will happen, and then it's like, no, then I get hit with the reality of, no, I'm still in the same spot that I was in. Cause like when everything's good and there's no problems, of course it feels like, okay, I'm advancing in every part of my life. But then when something happens and something gets triggered in me, it's like, okay, I'd handle this one better, but in this area of my life, okay, I'm still struggling. I'm still, and that's fine, what I'm saying? Cause it's a process, but what isn't fine is I'm not doing the work, or if you're not doing the work to start addressing it once you see, okay, this area. So if you can see, hey, I'm doing better in this area, cool, continue what you're doing in that area. But in another area of your life, which for me, there's areas in my life where I'm not doing well. In a recent incident showed me that. And so now I have to start focusing in on this area in my life. And I need to start focusing on getting where I need to get to where I can start handling things better, in certain areas of my life. But I also understand that, I'm not going to be able to do it all by myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to need a good team around me. I'm going to need a good village around me, because I know, at least as of right now, because I haven't changed a lot of who I am at my core. So I know that laziness is still there. I know that the I know that the what's the word that I'm looking for? Not complacency, but the procrastination. I know the procrastination is still there. I know that the want to give up on myself is still there. So I know that there are a lot of things that are still there. So I know that I got to have a good village around me. So that way, when those things start to pop up, start to rear their ugly head, and they start to, you know, try to take over in my life, you know what I'm saying? I know I have good people to lean on and just to talk to, that I can have honest, open conversations with, and they're going to keep it real with me, and they're going to let me know, hey, you falling short. Hey, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And they really going to hold me accountable. And these are people that I'll really listen to. They'll help me, see things from a bigger picture, a bigger perspective, because sometimes, when those inner voices get to talking, and it just gets to sounding so good, it just makes perfect sense. You know what I'm saying? And you get lost, and I get lost and I'll get lost in my thoughts, So that's why it's so important to have a good, solid team around you to help you, kind of manage those thoughts, or help you organize those thoughts. Because I don't think that there's anything wrong with seeing the good and bad and the pros and the cons, weighing all the pros and cons in every single situation, or every single opportunity that's out there. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that, but for me, when I'm left, to my own devices, and it's just me, some the most of the time the negative is going to outweigh the positive, or even if the positive outweighs the negative, I'll just stay focused, stay locked in on the negative, and I don't even, focus on the positive anymore. And so for me, I know that there are going to be times where I'm really just going to have to lean on my village and the people around me. And that's also something that I'm working on, because it's not easy for me to ask for help. It's not, I don't, it's especially when it comes, I mean, financially, you know what I'm saying? I'll go behind on payments for months before I'll ask. And part of it is a pride thing, and part of it's just like, that's just how I was raised. You don't, you figure it out. And so it's going to be a battle for me. I know that this next part of my life is going to be a battle for me, because I'm breaking down a lot of who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to turn around a lot of who I am, my pettiness, my procrastination, my inconsistency, my willingness to give up on myself. These are things that I'm getting ready to try to break down, and try to, get rid of from on a fundamental level. So it's going to be rough, and I'm going to have to go against my natural instinct, because the natural thing for me now, because I've done it for so long, are those negative traits that I just talked about. Those are the things those are my go-to. So, to get rid of them, I have to work even harder to not fall into those things, not fall into complacency, and not to fall into procrastination and all those other things. So, it's going to be work, and I think that the conversations that I was having with my mom and then with my therapist, it just made me realize like how much work I need to do. And I think that it finally just really started to hit me like, like this is, and mind you, it's something that I want. I do want these things. I do want to get to a point to where I'm no longer being petty or vengeful or taking every single thing that someone does as a personal slight against me or a personal attack against me. These are places where I want to get. And it's just, when you talk to people, it's like you start to when I talk to people, I realized how deeply embedded and deeply ingrained whatever these things are in me that make me think these things, they are deeply rooted in me. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a lot of work. And I think that, I've said it several times, like, yeah, it's going to be work. It's going to be work. And then it's like, once you start actually standing in front of the work, once you start getting to the point to where, okay, it's time to start doing the work, it's like you really look at it and you really realize how much work it is. And I think that that's where I am. So it's one of those nervous, excited, anxious kind of moments, because I know that I'm right there at the doorstep of the work that I need to start doing. So I know that I've acknowledged the issues. I know that, and mind you, I'm not saying I've acknowledged all my issues. There are going to be more issues that pop up, but I've at least acknowledged enough of them to where I can honestly say that I can stand in front of the door of the work that I got to put in to get to where I want to be. And I think that these last couple of conversations, the past couple of days, have just really put into perspective for me how much work, how much how many bad habits, how many years, you know what I'm saying, of just doing things just creating these bad habits, how many years of creating these bad habits I have to now undo. And and it's just a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot of tough conversations. It's going to be a lot of just things that I don't really want to do, and cutting some people off that I may not want to cut off, but I know that I need to. And it doesn't have to be a permanent thing, but while I'm going through my process and while I'm going through my work, I know that I need my headspace in a certain place, and I know that certain people just bring out a negative side in me. And it may not be them, it may just be me. It may be some unresolved issues that I have with them, some things that I need to work out within myself that I needed to do to where I can have a calm, peaceful relationship with that person. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of things that I'm starting to realize about myself. And so that's the beautiful thing that I do love about having open and honest conversations with the people around me, and then also going to therapy, you know, exposes a lot of things about myself that I either didn't want to see or didn't even know, or you know, I knew but you know just didn't want to say, didn't want to admit, things like that. So it's been a lot of eye-opening experiences or an eye-opening conversations over the past 3 or 4 days. So I'm excited, but like I said, I'm also nervous, but it's definitely work. And I'm definitely gonna have to lean on the people, you know, around me. And I have to do a better job of opening myself up to allow those people to help. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said already, you know, asking for help is not an easy thing for me. You know what I'm saying? At all. Especially when it comes to, you know, emotional, like the emotional stuff. It's not an easy thing for me, you know, because it's not even something that I think about. I don't even think about, hey, let me reach out to this person, or man, let me go talk to this person and get some help. It's not really something, it's not a natural thing for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like I think that it's weakness if you ask for help, or if somebody, because I'm here trying to, you know, tell people, hey, go get the help, go ask those people, go make your village. So it's not like I think it's a weakness thing. It's just, again, all these years of creating these bad habits that, like, they're just natural to me now. They're just second nature. I don't have to think about them. I have to think about asking for help. I don't have to think about go do it alone, go do it by myself, go find a way to make it work, because that's the way I've done it. That's the way I've operated most of my life. So it's just second nature to me. So now it's time to put those bad habits away and work on some better habits, better communication, working on, you know, being honest and open with people about how I feel, opening up myself to being vulnerable with people on an emotional level. These are all things that I have to work on, because all I've been is just closed up into myself. The only time that I would let you know that I felt something was like anger, annoyance, frustration, happiness, you know, things like that. But when I want to, but to be vulnerable and tell you when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling hurt, when I'm feeling betrayed, but not in an angry way, but more in a just emotional way, those things aren't there. They become easier for me to admit to myself, like, man, that hurt me. But to admit to someone else, to say out loud, to say to the person who may have hurt me, those are things that I'm working on. And it's things that I've done before. So it is getting easier to do, but it's getting easier to do. I won't sit here and say it's hard or it's difficult or I definitely won't say it's impossible, but you know what I'm saying? It's definitely still a little of a struggle, but because I've done it before and I've seen that, you know, it's been both sides. I've done it and it's had positive results, and I've done it and it's had negative results. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can't control how someone else feels about whatever you got to say, you know what I'm saying? But you also can't let that stop you from saying whatever it is that you need to say. And I think that that's one of the things that is kind of holding me back from having certain conversations, is because I'm worried about how these conversations are going to affect the other person. And, you know, and I'm not really focusing on me. Like right now, you know, I need to take the time to focus on me. I need to take the time to do what I need to do and heal from the things that I need to heal from, and grow and do the things that I need to do. But you know, I'm just so used to being the person who's there for people, the person who's there for people, that sometimes it feels weird to just say, hey, I can't be there for you, even though I know it's necessary and I know that it's something that I need to do. It's sometimes it's hard for me to have those conversations, because I feel like I'm letting that person down. And when in truth, you know, I just need to take this time for myself, and I need to get myself together. And I think that that's one of the things that I'm learning to do, is to just, you know, to understand that it is okay to take time for yourself, to put yourself first, to say, I don't have the capacity to handle this and to handle that. And that's the best thing that I can do for my friends. And I think that now that I'm starting to work on the way that I view those conversations. You know what I'm saying? Because if I try to take on something knowing that I can't take it on, then it's not fair to them. So it's helping me, to get into the right mind frame of where I need to be, because right now I can't be the things that other people need me to be, because I need to be those things for myself. And it's hard for me to be those things for myself and be those things for them at the same time. So like right now, I'm just, at a point where, I'm choosing myself, but I have to remember that choosing myself is an everyday thing. I can't just choose myself one day and then go back to doing what I normally do the next day. So that's the part that's also kind of, that I'm battling with, is choosing myself every single day. Every day that I wake up and somebody's coming to me with problems, I have to also have that same conversation with them the next day. Like, hey, I'm still, just trying to figure me out, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? It's an everyday thing that I have to keep showing up for myself. I have to keep, putting myself first. And I got to keep reminding myself that, hey, take this time to, keep going, put one day okay, you put a day together, put two, put a week, put a month, and things like that. Cause I think that, my natural instinct is when somebody be like, hey, I need to talk to you. Hey, I need your advice. Or, hey, I need this. I need that. My natural instinct is, okay, let's do it. What you need, what you got, what's going on. And it's like right now, because I have so many things that I'm battling and so many things that I'm dealing with, that is, I just don't have the capacity to handle it in the way. Now, if they just need somebody to listen, cool, you know what I'm saying? But when they just want to hit you every single day with the same thing, it's like it becomes so overwhelming. But I'm learning to have those conversations. I'm learning how to see, okay, this is too much for me. I'm learning how to set those boundaries, and another thing for me is I have to learn how to stand on the boundaries. It's because, again, it's like one thing to set it. It's a whole nother thing to make sure that you stand on it, to make sure that you're letting people know, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's a boundary for me. Hey, let's not cross that line. Hey, I don't have the capacity for it. So, I'm learning to also stand on the boundaries that I set, not just set them, but also stand on them. But I'm learning to be way more self-aware. I'm learning how I feel when I'm being overwhelmed. I'm learning how I feel when I just don't have, the capacity, or when I'm dealing with my own stuff and things like that. I'm learning how to just have those conversations, or to avoid certain conversations, because I just don't have the emotional bandwidth. I don't have the emotional capacity to have that conversation or to deal with that situation right now, because I know that some of my friends and the things that they go through, it comes with a lot, and sometimes I just don't have it, but I also feel like a bad friend in those moments. So, but I gotta learn how to fight that, mindset, because I have to realize how important it is to take care of me. I think that for the longest time it's been, you just bury your stuff, you bury your emotions, you bury what you're dealing with, you bury that deep, as deep as you can bury it, and you just keep pushing forward. And that's been my mindset for so long, that, again, that's another one of my defaults, is to just bury it. So even if I may know, before I even pick up this phone, or before I reply to that text message, I may know I can't deal with this right now. But my default is, man, bury how you feeling, so you can do what you need to do for other people, or do what you need to do for the people around you. And so that's what I'll do. And so some days I'll catch myself, just in a conversation, or dealing with something that I know I don't really want to deal with, or that I know I don't really have, the capacity for, because it's just become second nature to me over times, over the years of developing these bad habits, to just push what I got going or push what I'm going through down as far as I can to make as much room as possible for whatever my friends are going through or whatever my family members are going through or whatever whoever around me is going through. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make room for their stuff and I'm not taking care of what I need to do. And so now that I'm, like I said earlier, now that I'm at that door of all of this work that I have to do and all of these emotions that I have to now unpack, all these 30 plus years of living that I've been doing and these emotions that I haven't dealt with, is just, these past couple of days has just kind of been overwhelming, all of the work and all of the unpacking and all of the resolving that I got to do. But I also realize I don't have to do it in a day. You know what I'm saying? Take time, one issue, after another, one day at a time, whatever it is. I just don't have to do it all right now. It doesn't have to all be completed by a certain time limit, because there is no time limit on your healing. There is no time limit on, your growth, your understanding, the things that you want to get done. So there's no time limit on you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to work on you for the rest of your life. So, now that I'm, starting to get gain the right perspective on things, and yes, it's a lot of work, but I have a lot of people to help me with this work, and I have the time that I can take my time to work on each and every issue that I need to work on. So, it's kind of, allowing me to breathe, and it's allowing me not to just get so overwhelmed with everything, because I'm looking at things from a big picture perspective or a long term perspective, and not just looking at it and thinking, okay, I need to get through all this as soon as possible. It's like, I need to take my time and really figure out why do I feel this way? Why are these things so triggering for me? Why is this bringing out this emotion? And, whatever the case may be. And so, I'm really, going to take my time, go through it issue by issue, do what I need to do to get to where I need to be. And I know when I say it this time, I mean it. I know that it's going to be work, and I know that it's going to take me some time, and I know that it won't be easy, you know what I'm saying? But I also know that it'll be worth it, and I know that I'll be a better person because of what I'm getting ready to go through, no matter how uncomfortable, and I know that it's coming, no matter how uncomfortable, it makes me, and how many friendships may be severed. I know that I'll be in a better place personally once I start doing the work and having the conversations and opening myself up to, get the help, and, and to embrace change, which is, again, I know I've said it before, it's not an easy thing for me, but once I can start to open myself up to embrace those things and to not just focus on negative, but focus on positive things, I know it's going to help me with my confidence. I know it's going to help me with being motivated and things like that. So yeah, I know that there's a lot of beautiful things that's going to come out of this. And I know that there's going to be a lot of hard and negative things that I'm going to go through during this process. But I also know that overall it's going to be worth it. So, just to wrap up today's conversation, man, don't be afraid of the work. You know, understand that it's going to be work. Understand that getting out of those hurt places that we've been in most of our lives, getting out of those places of trauma, is going to take work. It's going to take you acknowledging your hurt, acknowledging your pain, acknowledging the people who put you in those positions. And, and it's going to be work to get out of those positions. We didn't get put in these positions overnight. We've been put in these positions, and we've stayed in these positions for years. So it's going to take time to get out of them, but you got to put the work in. We got to put the work in. We got to do the work. The work is so important. The work is probably the most important the most important part of it. We got to do the work. So don't run from the work. Let me not even say stop running, because I don't know if you're running, but don't run from the work. Once you get to that point to where you realize and you actually see how much work you got to do to get to where you want to be. Understand that wherever it is that you're trying to go is worth it. So it's just time to put that work in and have those whatever uncomfortable conversations. If those people are meant to be in your life, then they'll understand when you have those conversations. And if they don't understand, then maybe they weren't meant to be there. But just do the work, and you know what I'm saying, and do what you need to do, and make sure you got a good team around you. Make sure you got a good village around you, because you don't have to do everything alone. You don't have to go through all of these processes by yourself. Lean on the people that are around you. Lean on the people that you trust, who can help you through these hard